But anyway, folks, my name is Cy, and on this channel, we focus on the black culture, stereotypes, and the black image in the media. So today I'm going to react to this Kevin Samuels video where he's addressing Generation X, the men and the women. But he talks about the media. And so this is why I want to break it down, because he's speaking about the media and how it affected relationships and how they played a role in shaping perceptions for decades in the community. Let's break it down.
You know, I think that's going to be the show on Friday. I think the show on Friday is going to get to be, I think I'm going to have a men's show. Maybe not this Friday, but next week. I'm going to have a show with men over 40. And to call into this show, I'm sorry, I'm going to need to do some background, but I want to hear Generation X men who are out here working, successful, getting it done. And I want you guys to tell your stories. I am so goddamn sick of us having to shoulder such an unfair narrative.
There you go, bro.
From our own women. It would be different if it was from other people, but this is shit from our own people, our own women, our own mothers. I'm fucking sick of it. No. Women over 60 are by themselves because they are insufferable. You're seeing your mama and your mama's mama dying alone because they ran away from their man or couldn't be with the man. It's not because men didn't choose to be with them. The men back then were a different caliber. These women made it to where men had to leave or be gone for survival's sake. And the men that they did not choose to reproduce with, the beta male providers they had orbiting around to cut the yard and do this and do that. Man, y'all don't want me to start telling these truths. I'll likely get shot up in here. And it ain't for me to tell, but I want to start hearing from men who are Generation X men, so you guys can start telling the other side of this story.
Right off the bat, Kevin pointed out the raw, uncomfortable truth, calling out the mothers, the women who try to claim that it was all about men being deadbeats and all that stuff. And I'm from this generation he's talking about, and I've been trying to call it out for a long time because I feel, you guys know me, I feel the media played a role. I don't blame the media, but they played a role. They attacked black men for decades in all the movies, Color Purples, all the talk shows. A lot of this stuff started back in the 1990s with all these young black men painted as thugs. And these were great movies, Boyz in the Hood, Menace II Society. But that's what they wanted all black men to be. They painted the picture for all black men instead of those certain ones who chose that life. The TV shows, the movies, they often glorified that gang life, the drug sales. And like that is something to be proud of, but want to act shocked when the next generation copies it. And let's continue on how he breaks stuff down.
We didn't have a Color Purple for men. We didn't have a Waiting to Exhale for men. The best we had is in the late 80s, early 90s was Sister Shahrazad Ali. God bless her for the Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. That was the little bit of sunlight black men had ever seen up to that point in my lifetime. Never seen any light. We were told we were bad. We were told our fathers were bad. We were told black men ain't shit. We were told black men ain't shit by the world and by black women. Everywhere you went, you heard black men weren't about nothing on the music, on the radio, in the movie. Everywhere you go, you a black boy growing up, somebody telling you, you ain't gonna be shit like the men who came before you.
Okay, see, now he was touching on that media angle. And this is huge because Kevin's right, man. This was a cultural blueprint to make black men look negative everywhere you went. That's why I say I don't blame the media, but they contributed to it. That's why we can't let them off the hook. You cannot let anybody off the hook who contributed to this. Think about Color Purple. Think about Waiting to Exhale. All spotlighted women's struggles, not the men. They trained society to expect black men to fail. Not the ones who was failing, but all of us got lumped into one pie. That's why when one black man do a crime, you all feel like, oh, why it has to affect all of us? Because the way the media portrays it. And the reason they treat women and men differently is because women go by how they feel. They wanted women to feel comfortable. That's why they focused on them. Because if they would have came out and told the truth about women, some of the things they do, why you think we've never seen a movie about a woman who lied to the man that that's not his baby? You've never seen that movie. But the media want to separate the genders, participate in the gender wars. This is called media shaping the reality. And that's what he's talking about.
And the one time men actually try to sit back and say, you know what? You got men who are boys trying to become fathers they had never seen, brothers they had never seen, husbands they had never seen, taking all that pressure on. That's why you got so many Generation X men who are breaking. Panic attacks, divorces, all kinds of stuff. Why do you think men die so soon? Because men will take that shit on and say, okay, I'll try to be better. I'll try to fix it. That's why you got these men out here singing all these love stories and I'll pay your rent and tie your shoes. And that shit is not our burden. Wasn't our problem, wasn't our fault. You picked the men you fucked with. You picked them, not us. So many boys had to step into men. Boys didn't even have childhoods. How many boys went from being boys to son husbands trying to fix their situation in their mama's house because mama kept picking fucked up men? Did a lot of these black men in Generation X even have childhoods? No, they had fucked up credit ratings and checking accounts in their name by the time they were in 4th grade because of women like that on the phone talking about men wasn't doing what they're supposed to do. I don't give a fuck what the man was supposed to be doing. You shouldn't have had a checking account in your 4th grade son's name. You done fucked up your kid's Social Security number before he even graduated from high school. How many Generation X black men got power bills and water bills and all kind of stuff in their name? But then you can't say nothing to mama. Mama cooked for us. Mama did this. Mama did that. Mama also did a lot to set a lot of us back. It's time for you ladies, for Generation X women and the remaining baby boomer women to come clean with this shit. But you won't come over here piping that shit. No. Too many times. That's why you got these 55-year-old women sitting on these panels looking like Hollywood squares saying the same shit. I'm a queen. I'm a this. I'm a that. I don't need to tip my crown. You're 55 and alone. You're 55 and alone is what you are. Queens. You want to know one thing that makes a man run away quicker than anything? A woman that calls herself a queen. Queen of what? Queen of pain?
I like to say they're the queen of chaos. And I'm talking about a lot of the modern women who like to just look for drama. That's why I never let anybody call my daughters queens. I always say this, the queen was the worst treated woman in the kingdom. The king had all kind of bastard kids around the whole kingdom. He treated her like shit. Okay, he had 15 wives. You couldn't do nothing to a king. And let's not forget about what they participated, the kings and queens participated in the slave trade. We're not going to even go there. But let's be real. Most of this chaos started when women had the freedom to pick their own men. And they picked badly. Okay, and they usually picked the same ones. I can't tell you how many friends I had who had a lot of step brothers and sisters. Sometimes they didn't even meet the brothers and sisters until they got older. I mean, all these women started having babies with the same men. Talking about they was on their bad girl phase, bad boy phase. No, you was on your stupid girl phase, as my grandma liked to call it. Then you want to turn around and blame men. You know how crazy you sound? Think about this. If there's a man who had 8 kids and 7 baby mamas, they made the man look bad, and he should look bad. But think about it. That's one man making bad decisions. But that's 7 women making bad decisions. Which is worse? But the media painted the man as the bad person. Oh, he left the kids. He left this. No. Why you don't focus on why that woman wants to be baby mama number 4? Why you don't focus on that? But that's another story. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all do not hear me.
And the sad part is these women, when that shit, and here's this problem. I'm going there now. God damn it. You picked the right one today.
Go there, brother.
And the sad part is now that the Generation X men are immune to this stuff now. The Generation X men know the truth, can see for themselves, understand they're no longer moved by shame, insults, guilt, the need to be right. They've shuffled off all that stuff and they've come into their own and they're deciding to live the rest of their life, not forgiving their fathers, holding their mothers responsible, forgiving them all and moving on down in life. The men aren't affected. You know what they're doing? They've turned this poison onto their daughters. That's why you got so many women in their late 30s to early 40s having to look one eye always on their mama because their mother is alone. And you got these Generation X women, late millennials, late millennials, all having to sit over here and say, I can't have a life because I can't bring nobody around my toxic mama.
Can't do it. I know I couldn't. Hello.
The boys aren't being weighed down but with that stone around their neck anymore. So you got all these women. I got to be around for mama. But you ask the brothers, you got to be around for your mother. Where your brother? Oh, well, he's off living his life because he gave up. You know why he's off living his life in his late 30s, 40s, and 50s? Because he gave up his childhood. He gave up his childhood, and neither one of y'all should have to give up shit. That's her job. Y'all didn't ask to be here. She brought you here. She brought you here in the circumstances that were not ideal because of the man she chose. If you weren't born in the context of a marriage and plan, then guess what? You survived your childhood. You should not have to feel guilty to survive your adulthood because your mother still believes in this Alice Walker color purple bullshit and she can't get along with a man.
The media, boy.
Your choice to make. But the men are saying, I've given enough. Ladies, I hope you don't get guilted into giving up the next 15 or 20 years of your life until your mother shuffles off her mortal coil because she continues to make you feel guilty because they are good at the shame. They're good at the guilt. And they can hit you in places where you can't defend your childhood. French toast that. No other group of people, the women cannibalize their young in this manner like we do. And until you Generation X women start speaking and saying, this ain't right. So y'all start shaking up y'all's mother-daughter issues. Recognizing that the daddy issue that you told you had pale in comparison to your mother womb.
Exactly, folks. I remember when I was young, I don't know if it was my grandma or somebody, I heard someone say, when a child grows up with issues with their father or hate their father, they grow up hating their father. But when they grow up with issues with their mother, they grow up hating the world. That's why studies have shown like 75% of serial killers were abused or had issues with their mothers. But they made us think it was the daddy issues. See, daddy issues, if your daddy wasn't there in your life, they affect you. Your environment is going to have a serious effect on you. It really will. But you can funnel through that. I grew up without my father. I got through that. Do I got issues? I got some issues. But I made it out of the place I came from. But I seen a lot of things I deal with is because of mama issues. You understand me? Because those affect you more because that's where you were supposed to get the love and caring and compassion from. You're supposed to get that from your mama, but they strong and independent now. They men. And it's sad that they do not understand the effect that they having on the world because they fell for this game.
Men, keep doing what you need to do. Do not let the matriarch of the family continue to make you feel to try to undercut your manhood. You didn't do it.
No, you didn't.
You didn't do it. Your daddy ain't mister.
No, it's not.
It ain't our fault that Terry McMillan married a gay guy.
Because that's what she wanted.
None of this is our problem. Enough. Atlas has shrugged.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of you ladies are going to have to realize shame, insults, guilt, the need to be right is not getting you what you want. Men can see what's going on, and more are seeing it every day. There's only one way out of this: self-awareness. And you ladies are going to have to talk to each other. And I'm sorry, you ladies are going to have to have your come to Jesus moment. Y'all have to apologize for this stuff.
Mm.
And move like you know you have something in it. Because we didn't this love and hip hop hot girl summer thought culture just did not happen, ladies. So y'all can sit here and point the fingers at these 20-year-old women like they're just the most worst Jezebel succubuses that ever lived. They had mothers.
Mm.
They came from somewhere. There's an old school thought that the children are a reflection of the parents. Whole shit.
Holy shit.
Don't get mad at me. I just work here.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
As always, men, I got your back.
Thank you, brother.
And for the women that this doesn't apply to, you know it ain't you.
All the ones with
And for the
daddies.
women who are in process on your journey, stay on your path. Gentlemen, they all ain't bad.
Nope. Not my
And even the
daughters.
women who are, every day, somebody's waking up to the bullshit. But it's for the people who wake up to the bullshit to start acting like they know. I get tired of hearing, well, the men, grandfather had a fourth grade education. They dealt with real racism, real problems. Anyway, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm getting up out of here. I got shit to do in the morning. We're better together than apart, but we gotta get together with some structure, some self-awareness, and some good faith. Burn all copies of Color Purple. Burn all copies of Waiting to Exhale. That shit ain't helping you. It didn't help the women it right. It didn't. That's my personal opinion. You know, I don't see how it's supposed to. And the funny thing is, if you read any of those books, they selected the stories. Imagine the culture that could have happened had 180 degrees opposite of Color Purple been written.
And all those hood movies that they pushed in the 90s, that they put the money behind. They made some other movies too, but they didn't put money behind it like the hood movies. And they still didn't give those hood movies a lot of money. They didn't give them a big budget, but they gave them the budget that they needed to push their agenda.
And made into a motion picture. Imagine the culture that could have been if Waiting to Exhale was shit breathed and been put into the circulation. Media matters, people. Media matters. And to that end, that's why I continue to do these programs, night in, night out, because media matters.
And there it is, folks, Kevin with the truth bomb. Not just ranting, he's showing you how the media literally contributed to a lot of the stuff that's going on. Nobody want to blame the media. I don't blame the media, but I'm not letting them off the hook. It's like I always say, if a drug dealer is in the community pushing drugs and nobody put a gun to the people's head to be on drugs, nobody did that. But do we still let the drug dealer off the hook? No, we don't. You don't let anybody off the hook who contributed to the destruction. You don't. And Kevin was great at this. And so I'm going to react to any time I see him speaking about the media, because that's what we do over here, the media. I'm going to do a reaction video because his monologues is where everything was at in his monologues. Not those things where he was doing the interviews and all that drama and stuff people like to see. That made him famous and popular. But it was his monologues that took him to another level. Okay, because we all know the media, they don't just entertain. They push stereotypes, they shape behavior. And Kevin understood that. He was sharp, simple, and to the truth. Okay, folks, and that was the breakdown.
Broke it down to its very last compound.